What's up, everybody? It's your boy Reggie Casual. Welcome to the QA, where we talk about street fashion, culture, and the industry at large. This week was crazy. So many people are up in arms about Virgil Abloh stating definitively that streetwear is dead. Well, not definitively. We're gonna go ahead and defend Virgil just a little bit on this. So, of course, everybody goes crazy. You have people like Dennis the Disco from Outfit Grid. He was talking about streetwear is never gonna die. You had Bobby Hundreds of the Hundreds, who also expanded upon this idea of streetwear is not dead. And that's because both of these individuals are coming from a cultural perspective. But what Virgil was coming from was the designer's perspective. And it was clear that he was coming from that perspective because how he responded to it. So let's go ahead and just read what he said. So he says, "I would definitely say it's gonna die, you know? Like, its time will be up. In my mind, how many more t-shirts can we own? How many more hoodies? How many sneakers? I think like we're gonna hit this like really awesome state of expressing your knowledge and personal style with vintage. There are so many clothes that are cool that are in vintage shops, and it's just about wearing them. I think that fashion is gonna go away from buying a box fresh something. It'll be like, hey, I'm gonna go into my archive." There's two things that I gotta say about that. One, that answer, in terms of what Dazed is asking, in terms of the framing of their question, that is a pretty good answer. But in terms of the reality is that's how streetwear started. Literally, that's what Virgil is explaining. Virgil is explaining how streetwear started to Dazed Magazine. Forgive me for giving another small little history of streetwear and how it started. It started with lower income inner city kids who were wearing hand-me-downs from either older siblings, older cousins, and maybe that cousin who finally got his part-time job. He was able to buy a $160 pair of sneakers called Jordans. And also, not just them, but the suburban kids who didn't want to conform to the rules of society that their parents had cast upon them. So they became anti-conformity. The kids who were into punk, the kids who were into grunge, the kids who were into all these artists out there, into rock, like new rock, right? Alternative rock. That is a byproduct. That streetwear is a byproduct of that culture. And the activities that they engaged with, from hip hop to, b-boying to MCing to skateboarding, all of that is melded into one thing. It eventually became melded into one thing. It was street style. There was no term for it. It wasn't streetwear. We called it, and that's where Virgil's perspective is. Streetwear is the genre. Street style will live forever. And so a person like Bobby Hundreds, who's really big on streetwear and its culture, he comes from the street style, street culture perspective. So for him, he listens to Virgil saying streetwear is gonna die. And he's like, no, not at all. He just wrote a book. This is more than a t-shirt. Dennis the Disco, his entire outfit grid that he created is contingent upon people creating their own styles. Hear me, y'all ain't hearing me, right? So when they say, they're like, yo, streetwear is not gonna die because there's so many people who are still making their styles. And this is the danger of a comment like that, because Virgil is so influential in the industry, and this is what makes it dangerous. Because he's so influential in the industry, everybody in the industry will hang on to every word. And you wanna know why they do that? Because Virgil is an intellectual in street fashion. That's exactly what he is. And that's what I've been talking about for a long time, is the reason why streetwear culture, street fashion, all of that, why it's not taken seriously is because the people in the community of streetwear, in the community of street style, often they are not sophisticated enough to talk about it in an intellectual way. That doesn't mean that they're not smart. It just means that when they approach it, they're just like, it's more competitive And it's more, that's trash, that's not trash, that's cool, that's not cool. But Virgil, he's like, oh, it's about personal style. We're gonna move away. There's gonna be a trajectory of this. He'll come up with different terms and people are like, what does that mean, Virgil? What are you talking about? Like, please explain more. Please come to Harvard University and explain what this is for us. And again, the man is a success, right? So I gotta put that out there for everybody who thinks that I'm gonna clown on Virgil. The man is a success. I congratulate him. I do everything. He's amazing in the sense that he created something and he did something that hadn't been done before at a mainstream level. He did. He accomplished it. Yes, he had the backing of certain individuals, but if we all had that backing, we'd probably be in the same position. But my point is that because Virgil is an intellectual in it, the industry will hang on to every single word that he says. So when all of these publications print, Virgil Abloh says streetwear is dead, everybody hangs on to it. And then you have two schools of thought, the industry school of thought, which Virgil comes from, we'll explain that later, and the cultural school of thought. I like to say for myself, I'm first generation out of the hood. Like, I was one of those suburban kids, but I like design. So for me, and I studied design. So for me, it was like, I understand the design perspective. And yes, streetwear as a design perspective in the mainstream. Yes, I even posted that on Twitter. I said, streetwear as a design perspective, yeah, it might be, dying in the industry. But as long as people in the street exist, streetwear, street culture, street style will always be there. And that's where it comes from. What you're explaining, Virgil, is where streetwear originated. That's what you're explaining. And so he clarifies the statement. And he says, what we do is called design. It's not limited to being called streetwear. Design is design. The moral of the story is beware of whatever box you're labeled as. Challenge it, defy it, do not be defined by it. Also read all of any interview, never just the clickbait, never. So anybody can agree with that. Yeah, don't be shoehorned into any kind of design. But what you said was not about design. What you said is that streetwear in and of itself is gonna be dead. Now, if you're talking about streetwear style and design in mainstream, then yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Yes, in the mainstream, it'll probably die down. But you also mentioned that, away from tees, hoodies, how many sneakers, how many t-shirts, how many hoodies can we have? That's not what it was about. It was about creating personal style. So what you're saying is not akin to design, while at the same time trying to claim that that's design. It's like your clarification is like it's design. Virgil is successful because he used streetwear as his muse, but it illustrates where he came from. Virgil is on the outside looking in. He's observing street culture and he decided to create brands, or he just tried to create collections that illustrated his viewpoint of street culture. And so that's what really bugs me about the industry, is that they're sitting there and they're saying like, Virgil is the one, like, let's put this out there because Virgil said it. Everybody's gonna look at this article because, like, just be honest. Just be honest with your framing, be honest with your questions, be honest with how you present it, and stop doing this revisionist history as if streetwear. Read Bobby Hundred's book. It's an important book. Like, read the book, right? Go into the history. Watch the history of streetwear on The Casual. Like, watch it, right? Because you guys, even Dazed Magazine, which I highly respect, Dazed Magazine, Hypebeast, Complex, all of you guys, please go back to the culture of things instead of just saying the clothes are what is the end all be all, and anybody who's successful in the clothes, that's all that matters. Because that's all that'll get us clicks. However, if you start talking about the real stuff, people will watch it. People will look at it because they want to have conversations. They want to be more sophisticated, but you keep framing all of your topics, all of that. You keep framing everything in the sense of what's hot, what's not, and then people will gravitate towards this only thing. And I understand why you do, because you got these ad dollars that you gotta, you got them ad dollars. Let's be real. They give us, they give us money to present that stuff. So we gotta talk about it like this and we gotta get the clicks in. But people are getting tired of it. It's evident that people are getting tired of it. That's why they're going to vintage. They're getting tired of you telling them what to wear. They're getting tired of looking like the next person. They're getting tired of all having to wear the same sneakers or, compete for the same sneakers. People are tired of it. That's why they're going to vintage, or that's what it seems like they're doing, but they've always been doing it. I can't even form my own words right now. But that's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm kind of tensed up about it because that's some revisionist history thing. That's some revisionist history right there. Come on now. You're framing the question in the terms of the industry, and then you put out a salacious headline because you know people are gonna click on it, and then you know everybody's gonna hang on it. That's disingenuous, man. That's disingenuous. Even Virgil points that out. If he were to say, this is the last thing I'll say. If Virgil were to say, from a design perspective, in the mainstream industry, streetwear is going to definitely die. But in terms of street style, street culture, that'll never die. People will always be inclined to, go to vintage shops or, put all this stuff together and create their own styles, because that's how streetwear started. That's those styles will continue to exist forever because people will always find a way that, there will be these innovative people who will make their own style based off of what comes from the street. And everybody in the industry will try to understand it, and then they'll probably make some collection out of it. Boom, done. There you go. There's still an intellectual way, and also you're giving credence to the culture. So I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation with Virgil saying this. Again, like I said, I think it could have been worded better, but your opinion is very important to us. So go ahead and state whatever you think in the comments, and then we might present that next week when you guys have some of your questions and concerns that you have already said. And that, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And I'll see you guys in a minute.